Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, with a cup of tea in my own mug. So, I want to say thank you to everyone who's ordered things from my store, from my online store. Thank you so much. I got myself a nice mug. So yeah, it really is Vicky Marie with a cup of tea. Oh, and also I've got a Christmas jumper on. I've been shopping today. So this is a Primani Christmas jumper, this one. I love it, actually. It's really cozy. It's my favourite colour, pink. Of course, they've got a lot of choice there at Primani. But I was trying to get some dog jumpers, but they seem to have all gone at the moment. And this is my Christmas tree. So I love this tree because there's nothing falling off it, and also you can hang things on it, and that's what I was thinking. I will put decorations on it, but actually I don't think it needs it. I think it's just nice as it is. I might hang a few baubles on there. I might hang my necklaces up on it, actually. But yeah, and I thought it's even the sort of thing really you can have all year round. You can have on all year round. It's lovely. It's not only for Christmas, is it? So first of all, I want to say thank you, as always. Thank you to everyone for subscribing, for liking. Anyone who, especially my members, I want to thank my members. We've got our members live on Thursday coming up. So Thursday night is members live night. And I'm also currently doing this extra perk for the members where they can recommend to me a case that they are particularly interested in, that they want me to look at. It doesn't have to be crime. It could also just be a subject that you're particularly, if you're a member and there's a particular subject you're interested in, or maybe there's a particular charity you want to highlight, or maybe, anything. It can be anything, but it's the members only that can suggest these things. And this is the snapshot today. I think this is the fourth one that I've done. This is the fourth snapshot. I'm calling it members snapshot because these are not deep dives. These are short videos, maybe up to 30-40 minutes, just highlighting whatever the case is that the particular member wants me to highlight, talking about it a little bit. In the one that we did, the last one that I did, I think it was number 3. There was something that you could do there. You could support the family of a young man who he went missing. He was found. He was unfortunately deceased, but the full story is not really entirely out there. Now the thing is, that's something else that I wanted to say, because I say it very rarely and I should do. There is a playlist for these, so if you want to see that video and the other 2 that I've done on these members snapshot list, I have playlists. You can go onto my channel. Let me just see. And if you go onto my channel and you press playlists, there's lots and lots of, let me share that with you, because I never do this actually, and I should really. Yeah, these are my playlists. So there's the members snapshots. So I started off with Alan Bryant's. Some of these cases you may never have heard of. But you may know something. You may know something about them. You may have a little bit of information that you don't even realise. So, of course, there's the Nicola Bulley College of Policing report, the Idaho murders, which I haven't done much on that yet, but it's still in the early days of the court case coming up. The Advent calendar, I've been doing the positive video every day. The rant of the day, scam alerts, Summer Wells, Rachel Marin, etc. Just true crime in general. So true crime is a mixture of all the different true crime. I haven't got a playlist on Russell Brand. I don't know why that's. I've only done one video on him. But then the Confessions of a Spanish Teacher, I read out my whole book in installments. The live streams, the paranormal, Madeleine McCann, because I went on location to Pride de Luz. Nicola Bulley Back to Basics just before the inquest. Miscellaneous, a bit of everything in there. Nicola Bulley, stalking, serial killers. So, you know, there's a lot of different, it's important that people realize I am not just a one-dimensional channel. I talk about lots of different things, not even just true crime. So, yeah, all those playlists, go on my YouTube, press playlists, and all these will come up. And the members snapshot is one of them. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to say. I'm just going to turn this off now. Oh yeah, and thank you to everyone who sent me a super, everyone who's bought me a Ko-fi. Sometimes when people buy me a Ko-fi, I don't get to see it straight away. I've got to try and sort that out. But so thank you so much. All these things support my channel, help me keep going. As you know, a lot of people finding it difficult to keep up with their channels, especially as far as Nicola Bulley is concerned. And I will be continuing to make videos about Nicola Bulley when things are appropriate, when I think things are appropriate. And I will be continuing with that. Oh, that was another thing that I just wanted to mention in a very kind and gentle way, is I can see, you know, some other channels have taken off all their Nicola Bulley content, which is fine, because that's up to them what they do with their channel. And I've noticed then as a result, some people who sort of were quite nasty to me, to be honest, during that time, because I think what people need to realize is I do read chats on other channels sometimes. I do see what people say. And I think I can see that then people are wanting to come back to my channel now because, you know, they want to see something about Nicola Bulley, I suppose. Well, you know, all I want to say is I don't mind what you've said about me on any other channel. If you want to watch my videos, please watch them. If you want to join in my chat, join my chat. But just be aware that I am aware. That's all. And if you're you can be disrespectful to me in other people's chats, because that's nothing to do with me. But if you're disrespectful to me on my chat, you will be gone. Honestly, I've just had it up to here, you know, because even people who are quite nice sort of to your face on my channel, very nice to me, really quite not nice on other channels, I've noticed. So I do see things like that. So just to let you know, I don't care. I really, really do not care, but I won't have it on my channel. As you know, I won't have disrespect to anybody, any of my chatters. You know, I just, even other channels, if you can't understand by now why I don't mention other channels, it's not for any reason that I just don't want to upset anybody. That's it. That's it. Each to their own. Each channel, go your way, do your thing. Oh, the only one thing, there is one thing, that other thing that I did want to say, though. The only thing I would ask any other channel, and I'm not referring to anyone in particular, we have to respect Nicola, you know, because it's always the Nicola Bulley, isn't it? A lot of other channels, that's all they talk about anyway. They don't talk about other subjects. They're one-dimensional channels that only talk about the Nicola Bulley case. And sometimes they say really outlandish things. Now, I don't even watch other channels, but people, what you have to understand is my chatters do. And they'll send me emails, messages, or did you know what such and such said, and this and that. And some of the things that are being said on the other channels, honestly, please don't do that, because it is literally, when you say things like that, one, it's disrespectful to Nicola and her family to discuss her as if she is a person. You know, she's a mum, she's a daughter, she's a sister. And I would say to those channels, would you like your mum, your sister, your daughter, things to be discussed that with no evidence. This is my thing against Peter as well, really. Peter Folding, I hope he does go to James Cleverly or whatever he thinks he's going to do in the new year. But I still will always think he was wrong to send those pictures. Well, one, show them to the YouTube channel, and two, to send them to a psychic. Also, to change all these social media all the time. I mean, oh my God, he understands social media. He may even be watching this, but he understands social media and manipulates it to suit himself. And that's not a good look for someone who's supposed to be honest. And also, he keeps telling us how honest he is, Anyway, so I wanted to say that. Please have some respect. Please don't. Anyway. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm not specifying anyone in particular. Just, I think you'll know who you are if you're watching this anyway. Just, it's awful. And you do actually give YouTube itself a bad name when you do things like that. Okay, so I've had my little, that was a rant, wasn't it? A little bit of a rant. No, it wasn't a rant. So we're always respectful. This is a no hate zone, spite-free zone, prejudice-free zone. Everyone has a right to their opinion as long as they're not rude. And some people are, they don't seem to think they're being rude. But I just think, well, if I said that to you, God, I can't, it's normally the same people who'll say, oh, you're not letting me say that. I never stop anybody saying what they think as long as it's not nasty. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get onto this case, because this again, so this was a member who sent me an email and said, what about this case for your member Snapshot series? And it's been funny because it's been a couple of cases that have been sent to me. Really, I would have picked them myself if I could have picked a case, because they resonate with me. They're from the area that I'm from, or, they're cases I remember from when I was younger. And I do remember this case. This is a very sad case. Let me just get rid of that. So this is the case of Barbara Leach, and this case happened very close to, Shirley Leach. I always want to call her Barbara. I don't know. Barbara just keeps popping into my head. No idea why. Sometimes when that happens, it resonates with people. But anyway, I don't know if Barbara means anything to anybody. So Shirley Leach, and this was in 1994. So, it's quite a few years ago. But the reason why I find it pertinent, if you like, because it happened in Bury. Bury is near Manchester, which is, of course, is where I was born. And not only that, a lot of my family now live in Bury. And it's a place I know very well because I've visited it so many times visiting family. I was there for part of the time that I was there in the summer. Bury is a place that I know quite well because my family have lived there. Various members of my family have lived there over years, and I've stayed with them often. Now, it's a case that was solved by DNA as well. So, it was a case that looked like, was it ever going to get solved? Sorry, I'm just putting some windows down because when I've got too many open, sorry, what have I done with it? I think I must have put it. Anyway, I'll get back up. So we're going to, sorry, I've got distracted now because I can't find the thing that I was supposed to be showing you. Okay. Now, this was, let me just show this picture actually first, show you some photos of Shirley. So, Shirley, bless her, she sealed her fate when she stopped off at Bury bus station and decided to just pop to the loo, you know, the public toilets there. And unfortunately, she was followed in there by a particularly horrible man, and he brutally murdered her. So let's have a look. I think we'll have a look at the Bury Times, because that is, of course, is a local paper. Don't know why it's taken so long to go to it. Why is it not clicking into it? Maybe, oh, site can't be reached. Okay, fair enough. Maybe it's gone off that site. Let's have a look at Manchester Evening News. No. So yeah, there was a documentary made, a Sky documentary made, this year actually, earlier this year in January. So this is poor Shirley. She was quite an elderly lady, a frail grandma, it says, and she had simply nipped to the toilet before she would catch a bus. So she was 66. Gosh, I'm not that far off that age, but anyway, never mind. Yeah, so the 66-year-old mother of two would never return home. She was the victim of one of Greater Manchester's most brutal and horrific crimes. You know, and that's nothing for Manchester to be proud of, is it? I mean, you know, all crimes are awful, of course they are, but when it's vulnerable people like children and older people, it always just seems that worse. I mean, you know, I know it's bad, whoever it is, but I think you know what I mean. The most vulnerable in our society, it just seems worse, doesn't it? So she was a widow, Shirley. She lived with her son in Bury. She'd visited her daughter at Fairfield Hospital. She'd been to the hospital to visit her daughter on January the 6th, 1994. She caught a bus to Bury Interchange and missed the bus home. So while she was waiting for the next bus, she decided to use the toilet at the bus station, and that's where she was killed. She was found the next morning by a woman returning home from a night out. Now, she'd been stripped naked. Now, just a warning here, because it really is not nice at all. With her clothes and dentures left on the cubicle floor, and her body had been mutilated. So police began their search for the killer, but it'd be a long wait for justice. So this was the sort of what the Greater Manchester Police released at the time. At 4:15 a.m. on Friday the 7th of January 1994, the body of Shirley Leach, 66 years old, described as 5'2", tall, slim build, dark brown permed hair, wearing a light blue anorak shown below with a dark blue pattern, purple jumper, black skirt and black shoes with a gold motif thereon, was found in a cubicle in the ladies' toilet in the Bury Interchange complex, and she had been brutally murdered. Shirley was last seen alive in the Bury Interchange at approximately 9:15 Thursday the 6th of January, having alighted from a 469 bus which she had boarded at Fairfield Hospital in the Jericho area of Bury. Did you see this lady between the two above mentioned times? Gosh, I mean, public toilets are terrifying, I think, especially at night. I mean, apart from the fact they're dirty, filthy, normally, you know, they are a little bit scary, aren't they? Did you enter the toilets at the Bury Interchange? Did you see anything suspicious? Have you any information? If so, contact the Bury Major Incident Room. So apparently this Sky documentary, which I haven't seen, so I don't know if any of you saw it, but it was released on January the 12th, and it told about her killer. He was caught, her killer. He was a former soldier and he was a bus driver, and he was finally brought to justice through DNA. Also, I think it was for a driving offence that they took his DNA, but he has done other things as well. So at the time, here he is, nice man. Gosh, what a man, what a man, what a guy. That's what you do, attack vulnerable old ladies, and that makes you think you're a man. He probably thinks he's a bloody great man. Anyway, over 12 years, long years, Mrs. Leach's killer remained a mystery, but by a combination of advances in science and a stroke of good luck, the identity of the killer was revealed. And then it goes on to say about the naked body of Shirley was found in a toilet cubicle at the bus station. And that visit to the toilet that she decided to make cost her life. So in the cubicle, she was attacked, assaulted in a sex way and murdered. This was a determined attack on a woman of mature years. So that's what happened. Now we're going to look at how he was caught. Let's see. What was his name again? Oh, anyway. I think he's still in prison. I hope so. I mean, so many, the one that we looked at the other day, so many killers are out because in the 80s, especially 80s and 90s, I don't think sentences were long enough. I think they have gone back to being longer now. Hope so. Let's see if I can find. Let's try this. Right, now here's something as well. Just recently, he's been convicted of raping. So he's one of those, he's got no type. He doesn't care who it is. It can be an old lady. It can be an 11-year-old girl. It could be anyone, just anyone, to give him his kicks of feeling powerful over children and old women. That's the sort of man he is. Oh, it's like he doesn't care. He doesn't even have a victim type or whatever. It's just horrible. And this girl finally came out because she was only 11 when this happened to her. And she said that he said, if I told anyone he'd kill me, if I told anyone, he would kill me. So she never did. And she never got over it. And she bottled it up. She bottled it up for years. So it happened in 2001, her ordeal, but I think she kept it to herself for nearly 20 years. Anyway, Ian O'Callahan, that's his name. We don't need to know his name, really. God, I hope he's having a rotten time in prison. So he RAPD'd an 11-year-old girl as he was evading police after he'd already killed Shirley in a macabre attack at Bury bus station. So he's a bus driver. Gosh, my sister had a really bad experience with a bus driver once. Could have been him. I mean, you just don't know. It was around about the time. Anyway, he forced himself on the terrified youngster in an alleyway whilst he was in his work uniform, telling her, let's see if you can keep this one secret. So she kept quiet about her ordeal for 15 years because she was terrified he would kill her. And she even bumped into him when he was driving a bus she was catching with her family. She also made sure she was always with friends whenever she walked to school. For fear. Sorry, I should have changed that over. Sorry, I'll go back up to the top of it there so you can see him. Not that you probably want to see him. So yeah, she also made sure she was always with friends whenever she walked to school, for fear he would ambush her again. And when she created a profile on the Friends Reunited website, his details came up as a possible friend. Oh God, remember that Friends Reunited? It caused so many problems, didn't it? Because lots of people started having affairs with people that they'd known from when they were at school, etc. It seemed to cause so many problems, Friends Reunited. Anyway, she posted, "I hate you for what you did to me." So she finally went to the police after he was arrested of the murder of Shirley Leach. So he was a former territorial army soldier. Oh, so he's in the TA. He wasn't like what you'd call a proper soldier. I mean, they are proper soldiers, obviously. Now, when I was young and lived in Manchester, gosh, when I think about it now, God, I could have known him, because we used to regularly meet up with TA soldiers in Manchester town centre, going out with them and that, and they always used to wear their uniform. I mean, when I think about it now, obviously they were trying to use their uniform as a way of getting girls and that, and it did work, to be honest, because it just did. I mean, they were attractive in their uniforms, etc. Yeah, because normal soldiers would not wear their uniform in public, I'm sure. Just looking at him now, I'm thinking, do I know him? Because that was in Manchester. I always went out in Manchester town centre. I did date a TA, but he was called Tony. It wasn't him, for a little while. Couple of, we just used to hang around with a big group of them. Anyway, so she's now, well, it says here she's now 28, and this was written in 2019. So she's in her early 30s. And when she went to the police after Shirley was, after he was arrested and convicted over the murder of Shirley. Gosh, it's funny, isn't it? Like the ripples, how they go out. Anyway, they had been unable to trace Mrs. Leach's killer until O'Callahan was arrested for drink driving, and his DNA matched samples found at the murder scene. And it turned out he had other convictions for indecent assault and exposure. So he's currently serving a minimum of 28 years. So when was he prosecuted? When was he? So he's not serving a proper, what I would call a proper life sentence. A minimum of 28 years doesn't seem a lot, does it? Because he had other convictions. How has he ended up with a minimum of 28 years? Oh, poor Shirley. So anyway, he was convicted of her rape following a retrial in which the victim twice had to relive her ordeal. I mean, this is the problem with our RAPE cases. It's only your word against theirs. And it's traumatic to keep reliving it. And also they bring up all your past. Is that what happened to my sister? She had manoeuvred. It was a bus driver who wouldn't let her off the bus, and she managed to talk him into letting her off the bus. She said she had to get home for the babysitter because she had children at home. And she said to him, "Oh, I've got to get home for the babysitter, but I'll meet you tomorrow." And this guy, whoever he was, I don't remember his name, but she did go to the police. He let her off the bus, and she just put two fingers up at him and ran off as quick as she could. She went to the police, and he did get successfully lost his job. He was a bus driver. He was successfully prosecuted. I don't know what he got for, it was, I suppose, assault. He did, he didn't actually go through with the RAPE because she was clever enough to talk him round and say, she would meet up with him the next day. But the thing that was awful was the way she was quizzed in the court, because she was divorced, and it was in the papers, and they actually say that, divorced mother of two. Can't remember how many children she had at the time. They bring up all the woman's history, or they did then. Whether it's changed, I don't know. And she had to go through that. Like, it's like people casting aspersions on her, because she was divorced, as if like, oh well, she's divorced, so it doesn't matter so much. I mean, it's the most ridiculous way of thinking. It really is. Anyway, so he was convicted of rape. So he was at least convicted. It's so difficult to convict someone of rape. So he said if I told anyone he'd kill me, and I never did, he just got up after it happened, had a smirk on his face. He just walked off and just left me. I never got over it. I just bottled it up. And then when he got arrested for a murder, so I thought I could, because he was in prison and having flashbacks. So she probably felt safer going to the police then, because he was already in prison. It was affecting me being a mum, and I knew that was unfair, so I had to come forward for closure. So it turns out he's from Bury. He had a history of sex offending dating back to 1984. So when he was just 16, he broke into a 46-year-old woman's house and molested her in her own bed. So, yeah, he's a nice person, isn't he? Anyway, this is the police investigating the scene. And then in 1992, he was convicted of assault after he attacked another woman while visiting Lancaster with the TA. And then poor Mrs. Leach, poor Shirley, was ambushed by him when she missed her bus after visiting her poorly daughter in hospital. So he pulled her into a toilet cubicle. He ripped off her clothing. Sorry, I have to give you a warning here. And then sexually assaulted and strangled her. I don't know why I'm whispering, because it doesn't make any difference. YouTube will still pick up on it if they want to. Anyway, the other thing that he did, and I really need to give you a trigger warning for this, he cut off her right breast. Now, they said it was to keep as a trophy, but I think it's generally accepted that what had happened was he went home after he'd done this, and then he realised during the attack he had bitten her on the breast, bless her, and he went back and cut that off, so that, there could be no connection to him. That's, I think, what really happened. And yeah, so he evaded detectives despite being convicted in that same year, exposing himself to a 13-year-old girl from his bedroom window and punching a woman unconscious in a pub in Bury. Oh my God, this horrible, horrible man. So detectives never considered him a murder suspect, even though he strongly matched the description given to police by a woman of a man that she had seen acting suspiciously in the bus station at the time Mrs. Leach was murdered. Because the woman, who was herself waiting for a bus, was said to have been so scared that she got a taxi home. God. So the RAPE victim was attacked by O'Callahan in September 2001, days after he exposed himself to her during an encounter in their neighbourhood. She told police he walked past me and I kind of did a sigh of relief because he didn't look at me, but then he put both hands on my shoulder and dragged me into a back street. It was daylight, but no one was around. Now, that's him when he was young. God. Bet your mum's proud of you. He was in his work uniform, which was dark blue, and had a bag which he carried on the side. I didn't even try to move. I didn't know what to do. I just looked up at the sky and just turned away. I remember starting at all the little staring, sorry, they've put starting, but it'd be staring. I remember staring at all the little lines of a gate so I didn't have to concentrate. I didn't tell anyone because I was so scared, too scared. He said he'd kill me and you could tell in his eyes he meant it. Later, when we went on a trip to Ramsbottom, gosh, I know Ramsbottom really well as well. I've got family there as well. And we were waiting for the bus. He was driving. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. He was driving, and I remember saying I didn't want to get on. I remember being so angry at my mum when she went over the road to speak to his girlfriend. I wonder if her mum knew, or maybe he didn't know. Anyway, it was the beginning of September when it happened because I was due to start school. I told a few friends when I was 14 or 15, but I don't know if they believed me. And once on a website called Friends Reunited, I made a profile. His profile came up and I commented on it saying, I hate you for what you've done to me. Gosh. So what happened to him was, he had to give DNA samples following a drink driving crash. So apart from doing all these horrible things against women, this is a proper twonk. He also had a drink driving crash. So as if it wasn't enough, like RAPing and murdering and all those other things he did, he thought he was drinking and driving as well. I mean, he's a real credit to society, isn't he? Anyway, he was jailed for life that same year. And so that was in 2006. And the RAPE victim went to police in December 2016. This, unfortunately, is the toilet cubicle where poor Shirley met her fate. Okay, there's another picture of Shirley. Poor Shirley. Gosh, rest in peace, Shirley. Hope you're with your husband now. And anyway, at least you know that he was apprehended and he is in prison. I hope he stays there forever. So at the time of Mrs. Leach's murder, he was working as a moulder at a road cone manufacturer, and he lived a 20-minute walk away from the scene of the killing. Yeah, because he went home, thought about what he'd done, realised he had bitten her, and went back and then defaced her body by removing the bite mark, removing the part of her body that had the bite mark on it. He denied any involvement in the murder and blamed a string of unfortunate coincidences. But the court was told that the chances of the samples coming from anyone other than him were 1 in a billion. So a copy of a book was found at his house, The Chronicle of Murder, detailing how an RAPIST was caught by teeth marks he had left in his victim's breast, and this was found at his home. So he preyed on the vulnerable, children, old women. I mean, not that old, I don't want to say that as it's not that old. Well, not when you're getting close to it. Oh God, this just reminds me of me. This is what my dad always used to say. He always used to read the Manchester Evening News, and he would always read the obituaries, as he was getting into his 70s. And he would say, oh, such and such has died. It'd be somebody he'd known from when he was young or he'd worked with or whatever. And I'd say, of course, me at the time being young, and I'd say, oh, how old was he? And he'd say, oh, only young, only 70 or only 75 or whatever it was. And I used to think, oh, God, he's really old, but that's what you think when you're 19, 18, 19. Even 30 seems old. Okay, so what this young woman has gone through at the hands of Callahan is unimaginable, and I want to commend her bravery. Who's this that's saying this? Detective Constable Daniel Whitaker of Bury District. I hope today's sentence demonstrates our commitment to pursuing sexual predators no matter where they are or how long it takes. It says here, Greater Manchester, I don't know if it's still true, is nationally recognised as a model of good practice in terms of support services available to victims. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but what I would say is I wonder if it's true now because, of course, there's no resources now. These follow-up services to victims so important, you know. Obviously, poor Shirley, you know, she was murdered, and there was nothing more for her, unfortunately, except justice, which luckily was finally served on this piece of SHIT. But yeah, as far as victims are concerned, you know, victim support is very important, but it all costs money. So the only thing I can remember when I lived in Manchester, I was living in a bedsit for a while, and we did get robbed. Someone broke. It's one of those big old houses, you know, and it was all divided into bedsits. And someone came in and went through the whole house in the daytime, and I think they must have been watching. That's what scared me, because we were all working. Everybody in that house was working. And there was at least 5 different bedsits, so it just scared me that they'd been watching enough to know that we were all out at the same time to make sure none of us were there. But anyway, the reason I'm saying that is I do remember there was victim support then. Even, you know, they came round to the house, see if we were okay, you know, gave us leaflets, gave us numbers to call if we needed any help, etc. So there was definitely support after the event there. What makes somebody be so nasty is that, I wonder? Anyway, I think they're just born bad. You know what I think? I don't think it makes any difference what you do. You know, some people are just nasty. They just are nasty, and they can cover it up. You know, they can cover it up, walk amongst us. They can go to work, seem like a perfectly normal person. But underneath all that's going on in this baldy head. So anyway, that's the very sad story of Shirley, and also the other girl who obviously is not, well, he had a few victims. So yeah, that's the latest in the Snapshot members. So if you're a member of my channel and you've got a case that you want me to highlight, it doesn't have to be a case, it doesn't have to be, it can be any subject that's of interest to you and you think that might be that you would want me to do a video on. So that's it. I'll be back very soon. Thanks again. I just put my thanks up there. So yeah, if you remember to get in touch with me and send me your suggestions. And remember to live and love carefully and wisely. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you.